So the big question is this: how do investors like us who don't have a PhD in finance or millions to start investing, how do we grow our bank accounts to build real savings and retirements and yet still have the time to do what we really love? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. Hey guys, I'm here with the Stock Market News Podcast. Hope you're having the coolest day ever because it is Tuesday, but it feels like a Friday because it's right about to be Thanksgiving break, which is so exciting. And I mean, besides the fact that there were so many fun stock trades today, I was reading the H20 principle and I read this phrase that I could not believe. I hadn't found earlier. I hadn't understood this concept earlier. And I went through such a long process to really get this and learn how to apply it. And so I want to share it with you today because I think it's something really, really, really powerful that can honestly change the whole course of your life in the next 8 to 12 months, which is just ridiculously cool. And so here's that quote, and then we'll play the intro, and then we'll get deep into it. So psychologists tell us that all perceptions about happiness relate to our sense of self-worth. A positive self-image is essential to happiness. Now, how cool is that? How interesting is that? See, it's all about this idea that a sense of self-worth should be cultivated. And sure, 100%, right? You have to be you. You have to, convince yourself that you're worth it. That's such a huge thing. You have to believe wholeheartedly every morning that you wake up. If you want to, make 15% a day on average trading, if you want to, trade the size of quadruple, if you want to have insanely amazing investment returns, you have to believe wholeheartedly that you deserve. And if you don't believe you deserve, it's just so much more difficult to get. And so that confidence and that ability and that conviction, it all comes from your self-image, right? And your happiness and self-worth. It's not just how happy you are in life. It's not just, because there's this insane thing that no one focuses on. It's the idea that you have to absolutely love every single day, every single morning. If I wake up and I'm negative or I'm grouchy or I just feel like crap and I'm sick or something, I just won't trade because I know that if I feel awful, my trading will be usually really awful, especially for 90 new trades. And so this is something I hear literally so many traders, there are so many investors, they say this, they will not invest or trade, especially actively, if they're having an awful day, because reality comes down to, you can set stop losses and everyone sets stop losses, right? But a red day, that's still a red day. It's still sad. And it's interesting because you really want to try not to miss days. I remember, I was setting up this presentation, this seminar and all this stuff, and I missed a day of trading. The day I missed a stock doubled, that I was crap. It was the first day I missed 3 months. So obviously there's this idea that you never want to miss a day of trading. And and it's just an hour work. I don't know. I love it. It's so much fun. I'll never stop. And so the core concept behind that, what pushes people do that, right, is what? It's happiness. You're joyfully fulfilled. I love trading. It's just so much fun. And so you want to have happiness in all of your life to actually have that success. And I remember when I didn't actually master this concept, I was always grouchy, always sad, right? Never really had 100% conviction in what I was doing. It showed in my actions. It showed in my professional work, right? So I would be, trapped working for others, or I wouldn't even have a job, and I would have, and I just would have no way to make anything happen in my life or any of the people's lives around me because I wasn't fully there, right? I was always, dissatisfied or unhappy. And so because of that, people, they avoid negativity, they avoid unhappiness, right? And so you always want to change that state of being to a state of happiness, to a state of positivity. And then once you do that, everything changes because you have better relationships, you have better professional development, you have better skills, you have better work ethic. Everything's different. Your motivation explodes. You get so much more done by just being happy. And so, that's the importance of happiness, right? And it's a pretty basic fundamental concept, but it's this idea that happiness comes from our sense of self-worth. And some of you guys know, some of you don't. I used to be super fat, total overweight, big loser. I had no friends. It was super bad. And everything changed in my life once I lost 50 pounds and got shredded and started really attracting happy and positive people in my life because I was a more positive person. Because here's the deal, right? Self-confidence is so heavily based on your body and on like your physical state. That like if you can just change, some people like they might already be really close to this point. I don't know. This isn't like my number one thing, but it's such a fundamental concept that it's something I want to talk to you guys about today because it's just so huge. So like I know there's like some people that are like super overweight, and there's some people that maybe they seem to lose another 5 or 10 pounds. Some people are just like shredded, and that's like awesome, like 100% swole. That's super, super cool. And I remember like when I was really, 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 really overweight, like I was just super fat, and I would look in the mirror and I would be like, I would tell myself, oh, weight doesn't matter, my body doesn't matter, blah, 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 like this crap to try to justify why I shouldn't put in the work. What's it take, like an hour a day? What's that? Like less than 5% of your day to actually have a lasting impact, a huge freaking change, or change literally all aspects of your life. And it's bizarre that like people just don't do it. And a lot of times it comes down to habit, right? So you want to make it a habit to work out. So I would wake up every day, I would work out, or I would get home from school and I would work out, or just, have sports, and sports would always be at the same time. You have a public group that keeps you accountable. Just like find a time period where you want to like get swole and then do it over and over and over and over again. And like within a couple of months, it just changes everything, right? Because now you have more energy, but most significantly, you have a better self-image. You have more self-confidence. And like, I remember this shift when it first started happening in my life, from just being a total loser to like having complete and total self-confidence. And it's not just, getting swole. Like there's also like social skills, which are like super huge. But it all fundamentally comes down to confidence, to self-drive, right? And that all comes from sort of the work that you do at the basic fundamental level of who you are to go out there, be more, do more, and most significantly, really, really, really boost that confidence. Because that confidence, like, it's inside of you, and it will manifest itself externally in forms of wealth, in forms of relationships, in forms of, like, obviously health. But, like, it's had such a huge impact on my businesses specifically because originally it's like if I'm going to go hire people, or if I'm going to work on this project, or I'm going to do something really ambitious to try to change the face of blockchain advertising, like those are sort of like big things, right? You have to have confidence, conviction, belief, and self-certainty to actually make that happen. And so I remember when we first launched Monero Ads, I just finished. No, wait, that was June. That was okay. So I was just starting cross country, and at the time, I wasn't like super, super, super awesome at cross country. I mean, I was really slow, to be honest. I was running like a 32.5 5K, which is like, I was like basically walking. But I got it done in like 20, which is pretty sweet. Hopefully we'll get, yeah. Anyway, so at the time, I was transitioning, right? I was going from like getting swole weightlifting, which is basically the enemy of cross country, is muscle. They're going over to cross country to build aerobics, because aerobics, like just as a side note, like if you can expand the amount of oxygen you can carry in your lungs by, one of the best ways to do it is by running cross country. If you can sort of do that while you're young, it will expand your life expectancy by literally decades. One of the top indicators of life expectancy is the amount of air that you can hold in your lungs. And so like doing something super aerobic in high intensity interval training like cross country can really, 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 really expand your life expectancy, which is just like super cool. But anyway, so I was making this transition from weightlifting to cross country, right? Because like I'm a busy guy. I mean, I'm not gonna do both. I got shit to do, I wrote a book. At least about half of the time I was writing the book, I was running cross country like 3 hours a day or something. It was pretty intense. And so like I'm not gonna do both, right? So, and also it's just kind of productive because you build on muscle and then you get slower, because like some of the fastest guys on the team, and we had like literally state champions on the team. They were like skin and bones. They would eat like bananas on their birthday as a birthday cake. It's kind of insane. Like they were passionate. They were dedicated. They went all in, and they freaking got it, man. They got their scholarships to cross country schools or whatever, which is like awesome, right? Because that was their thing. They had that passion. They had that self-image. They had that self-confidence to just go all in. They freaking crush it. I mean, they're running like, we would do 100-mile weeks, but they do like probably 180. Sometimes more like 120, but dude, they run. It's pretty insane. It's pretty sweet. And so here's this idea, right? Here's this concept. So I was making this transition, and because I was moving from something I was really, really good at to something I wasn't as skilled. I hadn't run. Like, I remember I was in like middle school, and I would literally we had these track days. We'd have these, like, one day a year we would have to run a mile around the track, and if you couldn't do it in a certain amount of time, like, you would have to do it again on another day. And I remember every single year for 4 years, I could not run a mile under like 15 minutes or something. God awful like that. It was pathetic. I was super fat, like I said. And so what they did is they took the kids who couldn't run a mile in 15 minutes, and then 2 weeks later they made them do the exact same thing again. So it was a little bit like did not have the best experience with running growing up, because I was being like punished for being bad, which is supposed to make you better. But in reality, I was just really, 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 really out of shape and could not run. It was bad. I would highly recommend, like, I don't know. I probably had too much sugar when I was growing up. Like, because my parents had a restaurant, right, for like 10 years that they built. And like, it was just always dessert, and it was bad, man. It was really bad. Too many carbs, probably. I don't know. Really, really, like, not my expertise, but like, totally changed everything once I was able to, like, actually go hard and just get super, super swollen, and then going cross country, which is like, so cool. And so I'm making this transition, and it's just not something I'm typically as skilled at, right? Which is cool, because with fitness, like, you can get super good really quick, which is like really cool. Like, some other things, it's cool because, like, if you put in a bunch of work in a condensed period of time, like, you can get really good at anything. Like, for me, it probably took me, half a year, 8 months to really, like, get good enough at stocks that I could start trading. And so it was like, and it's cool. It's like, now you can condense that, right? So, like, there's the book and courses, most of the book. It's like everything that it, like, took me literally years to master. It's like all right there. So, like, you can take what other people have and then condense it in a really, really short period of time. And so for me, like, I was able to get my time down, pretty significantly, probably like 25 minutes within a couple of, 3 or 4 months. And so, like, that's a pretty, fast growth period, considering that for the past, 15, 16, 17 years, I had, like, never even considered running a mile faster than this.
Want more stock market secrets? If so, go get your free copy of my best-selling book, 9 to Noon. You can get your free copy plus $11,176 of unannounced bonuses it took me years to uncover, completely for free at 9tonoonsecrets.com. Inside 9 to Noon, you'll find the top 38 secrets you can use to double your portfolio every 2 years and make upwards of 10% per trade daily.